Welcome to Because We Love You. This episode, we are talking about something we all want to have.
Yeah.
We hope others have, but sometimes lacking. And
something
people,
that can be hard.
Yeah. Confidence. This came out because...
I kind of sang it. Aren't you proud of me?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's
true. Do it again. I didn't embrace it.
No, you're just going to have to re-listen later.
No, so this was my thing because when we were really reflecting on 75 days of exercise and conversations and drinking more water and being more mindful and meditating, I felt more confident. I felt like that. Maybe not at the very beginning, but once you get halfway through, it was a confidence booster that I could do more things, be more.
And I think people would say, well, of course, if you're, let's say, like losing weight or feeling more fit, you're going to feel more confident. But I think the weird thing for me is it wasn't necessarily related to changes in my body.
Yeah, actually, quite the negative. Like,
quite the opposite. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, quite the opposite. Quite the negatives. Whatever. You would think like, when I was doing all those things, I should be skinny mini going around here, or at least chunky monkey with muscles or something like that. but in a good way, chunky, good strong chunky. But no, I didn't necessarily see that. But I would notice the days that I went to the gym and I had a meeting after, or had a lunch dinner, or had something that I had to present. It was like, I did some hard things in that gym, and I think I can do some hard things in this meeting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely evidence and research showing that even just exercise. So let's isolate exercise for a second. Of course, we're reviewing the 75-day challenge. We're talking about lessons that we've learned. I love also, I'm going to totally sidetrack us for a second, but all of our words had C's. Yeah. Look at our alliteration.
I love it. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. So consistency, culture, and now confidence. I mean, our three big lessons. So I love that it worked out to be 3 C's. Okay. Back to confidence. We can isolate exercise for a second, but the 75-day challenge, of course, was about way more than that, and we talked, I think, last week about this idea that, with consistency, it's just about creating these patterns, creating these routines, showing up, doing the things every day, whether it's exercise, walking, eating better, reading, meditating, prayer. And there's something to that just makes you feel like you can do hard things, right? Mm-hmm. But to isolate exercise for a second, I mean, of course, we know that, right? We've talked about the research before in episodes of moving your body, of exercising, and certainly we know it's related to higher levels of happiness, higher levels of just overall satisfaction and well-being in life.
Less depression, less anxiety. So obviously if you have those, you will have more confidence. But there was a particular study done out of Eastern Washington University in the Department of Wellness and Movement Science. And they took 18 to 40, ages 18 to 40. 18 to 40-year-olds.
They took somewhere between 18 and 40
they did a little study on these participants, and they put them in the no exercise or in the strength training or in the cardio. Mm-hmm. And what they found was pretty interesting. One, there wasn't really an immediate, which was cool. There wasn't an immediate boost in their confidence score. When they quizzed these people after, it wasn't like, I just did an hour of cardio and now I'm super uber confident. But what they found that is over the weeks, that confidence score got larger and larger, or greater and greater. So that maybe, when we do hard things for one time, that won't boost your confidence.
It's great,
but if you keep doing them time after time after time, that's when you're going to see your confidence boost, and you're going to be happier, and you're going to feel like you can do more things.
Yeah, and I think, that makes a lot of sense to me, because the first few times that you do something hard, it definitely doesn't feel good. I think about, when we started working out, and just the other day we were at the gym and a new client came, and like you were giving her a pep talk. You're like, it gets easier. Just stick with it. You'll see results and it'll get easier. You may not want to come back tomorrow because you're gonna hurt. And I think, you know, when you first start anything new that's hard, the first several times you do it, it kind of sucks. Like, it's hard. It's hard on your body. It's hard on your mind. You feel probably sore. You're like, I can't do this. How can I keep this up? Right. But
you're very critical. And you know, we focused on this is weight, but just put yourself in other situations. The first time you taught a class.
Oh, yeah.
Like your first time teaching, my first time public speaking.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You listen to yourself and you're like,
so embarrassing.
Our first episode, we have listened back to Because We Love You, episode 1, and we're like, oh my, we have come so far. We're sitting here on this couch, all loosey goosey, and we were so erect that first time. I remember we were like sitting in our chairs,
so
like
nervous,
that.
shaky,
and there was no confidence. And like now, I'm like, I can slump, I can do whatever because we've got good words, we got things coming out of our mouth. Yeah, we got something to say.
Right.
So it's a confidence that comes with consistency and repetition. I want to ask you a question.
Okay. I can't wait.
Do you feel like you're a confident person?
Okay. So I would say that honestly, in the last couple years, that's changed a lot for me because I've always struggled with confidence. Like I'm very critical of myself. I have very high expectations of myself. I just, I expect myself to be perfect or really good. Like, and I want to be great at things. Yeah. Like if I take on something, I want to be great at it. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I do struggle with that. Like I always feel like I'm not enough and I'm not actually very good at like portraying confidence even to other people. So let's say, some people may struggle with self-esteem, but still outwardly, because confidence is more, I think, of like an outward thing, like what you show other people. I can't even fake it till I make it, or I couldn't. But I do feel like I've grown a lot in that area in the past couple of years. And I've started to realize I can go into a situation and even if I'm feeling nervous, even if I'm struggling, like portray confidence. And I have more trust in my abilities and things that I know. And, kind of like we said, that just takes practice. It takes doing the same things over and over again and showing yourself, you know what, you can do it. Or even if you do suck at it or you fail at it, it's actually not that big of a deal.
And thinking about the growth mindset, that this is not fixed. Like,
for sure.
I think about confidence in academics for our kids. They need that affirmation that, hey, I'm getting this. I did a good job. I get a good grade. But when they don't, it shouldn't degrade their confidence. It should be. It should inspire them to, say, hey, I haven't worked at this. I haven't put the effort into this. Which is, we're going to get to that later a little bit about. We can build confidence. Like I really believe that you and we can build more and more whatever confidence that we baseline have.
Well, what about you? Okay, you can't skip this question here. So generally, do you think are you a confident person?
I do feel like I'm a confident person. Interesting. So I have an interesting story. So my mom, I think I've told you this before, but my mom, and maybe we'll show a little picture of what I looked like when she was telling me all of these things. So good. But she just was always a woman of like her words. Like she's spoken to us all the time, which is something interesting that I think that's how we can build confidence, is speaking into our own lives and lives of others. But she always, she was saying, you are beautiful. You are gorgeous. You are going to do so many amazing things in this world. You are a world changer. You are, if it was flu, like you're growing so much. You sound so, whatever I was doing, there was always this voice behind me that it was amazing and that I was amazing. And in particular, she really stressed you're beautiful, you're confident, smile big. Well, at this age, my teeth were jacked up. And we're going to post a picture because everybody needs to see it. You've seen the picture.
Oh, I've seen the picture. I can't wait for this to be
not
released
only
into the world.
Did this woman tell me how beautiful I was and how great I was and how I was the most special person in the world. And I believed it. I believed it 100%. And I didn't even view from the outside. I was like, my mama is telling me this. And in this picture, I am smiling. I'm not trying to hide those teeth. I have pigs on my collar. Like, why would she dress me? Not only do I look like that, she also put me in a pig costume. It's not even a costume. It was supposed to be style.
It's like a farm themed outfit.
It's so crazy. But in that picture, when I'm smiling, brimmed, ear to ear, and I have all of these things outwardly wrong with me that the world would tell me that I'm not beautiful. All I heard was my mom's voice of, you are these things. And so like from an early age, I just always thought I'm great. I'm awesome. Yeah. I'm fabulous. I can do this. Like I'm going to, and so I do feel like I err towards confidence. I think I took a dip actually in my college and older years. Yeah. Like I had a little confidence crisis. Yeah. Where I was like, none of those things were really true. Those were manipulation to make me feel. And, we had talked about this, and maybe others can identify with that overconfidence.
Yeah, and it's like a different pattern.
Yeah. And so I had to deal with that. Like, am I overconfident in some things? But I think that we can be confident in certain things and not in others.
I think that's true. I think confidence, one, is not stable over time, right? We know it can go up and down, like we were just talking about. Over the course of the lifespan, but also, feeling confident in some areas and not in others. And I think that's totally reasonable and okay. You don't need to feel confident in every area. Yeah.
And I think if confidence can be built, if confidence is a result of preparation and consistency and putting in the hard work over time, then that's why it can be lost too. Because if you can imagine, you could be the best speaker in the world, but if you stop speaking and go into hiatus, that's no. What do you go into hiding? Go into a hiatus. Yeah, got it.
It's fun to watch you work that out live.
Yeah.
You're growing so much. You should be.
I'm not confident in my word pronouncing ability. I will say that. But
you just go for it anyway, which is what I love.
Yeah, I have to, because I know it's there, and I know, and I trust the people around me that they're gonna be like, Jade, this is how it's done, and then I'm gonna be better because of it. But if it can be built, then it can go away too from not building. And I think if we're not preparing, if we truly seek to have more social confidence, well, then you better put yourself into those situations where that you can
have to practice it.
Build them. If you want to have more stage confidence, well, then you better act some and get on the stage. If you want to have more teaching confidence or confidence in your writing ability, well, then you need to write and have people read it and have people say, oh, that was good, that was bad.
And you need to be able to take feedback, right? Yeah. And that's part of the process. And I think that a lot of people struggle with that. So that's interesting. But hearing you talk about this reminds me of an article I read this week in Medium. And I really like that the authors distinguish between, and you were kind of alluding to this, but didn't use the words, like the difference between talent-based confidence and discipline-based confidence, right? And so talent-based confidence is you kind of have a natural ability to do something. You feel like it doesn't take a lot of effort, so it comes easy to you, and so you do well in that thing.
This is most commonly the thing that people see in you and compliment you about. Like, man, you're so good at that sport. Right. Or
like imagine, I think of like a kid singing, right? That comes pretty easy. Or like a kid on a track team who just like is just fast, right? Now has never really trained or put in a lot of effort, but it just comes easily to them. Or drawing.
That's the confidence I don't have.
Right?
I don't have that talent confidence.
Well,
I got the next one.
I think that's good because, that kind of confidence is fragile. Yeah. And it's easy to get, it's easy to go away, to fade over time, right? It's the older you get, and then if you don't practice and you don't have discipline, you're going to decrease in ability. And so that's going to take your confidence down. Also, I think people who have talent-based confidence are very, really struggle when they see other people who are talented, right? Because there's not an easy solution of like, oh, just work harder. You feel like I shouldn't have to work for this. Then you see someone that's better than you and you just think, oh, well,
you lose your confidence. You're like, oh, maybe I wasn't as good at that as I thought.
Yep.
But
makes you
I
very
feel
vulnerable.
Something coming, Stacy. I feel something coming. But you're going to tell me.
Oh, drum roll.
Drum roll. Tell me about the discipline. Okay, but if you have both.
Yeah, but discipline-based confidence, is stronger. It's more resilient. You're not susceptible to it decreasing because of failure or because of someone who's better than you, because things like that. It's just when you stop trying. It's just when you drop the habits, right? When discipline goes away. And I think that's what we've been talking about here, right? Like what we got from the challenge is like, I just feel confident that I know if I had a goal or I wanted to do something, I could stick to doing something hard for a pretty long period of time, right? 75 days is a long time.
It felt like a long time.
And so that's just a huge confidence
But I'm
builder.
seeing something. When you put the discipline base with the talent base, I think that's where you get the extraordinary confidence.
Yeah.
And this is just a little example, and you're going to laugh, but...
I can't wait.
Okay, so... I feel like I'm decent at pickleball. Some would say I'm talented.
Okay.
And I have a little bit of confidence.
This is great. A little bit. As she slams it in your face.
Yeah.
Okay.
But whenever you add that discipline and that practice and stuff, and you take that little bit of talent that maybe God blessed you with in an area, that's when, and I came out of the 75 days and I played pickleball with y'all, and I just felt like super freaking woman out there. Yeah. I don't know if I have like extra muscle that I'm able to bang it harder or whatever's going on out there, but I do have a little bit of pickleball confidence.
Okay.
Yeah, boy.
That's great.
Skeeto.
Now, just imagine if pickleball had become popular when you were like a kid and you could have spent all these years. Oh my gosh, imagine you would be
my life
in
might
the
look
pickleball
different.
Olympics right now.
I think it would look a little different.
We wouldn't have this podcast because you'd be traveling around the world playing pickleball.
Yeah.
What would we do? What would our listeners do? They wouldn't have this content.
I play pickleball because I love you.
Yeah, I love that.
But I love that discipline. We have the ability to make ourselves more disciplined. Yeah. And so when we want confidence in an area, when we want our kids to have confidence, our husbands to have confidence, it certainly can be built. Yeah. And I love, I think I've alluded to this before, but like I read a lot of inspiration on Instagram, like the quotes, and you'll see like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, all these and they were so confident, but they said they could be confident because they had put in the preparation. And that's good. I think that's just a lesson. Like, and maybe the preparation is what we just tell ourselves, what we speak into our lives. Yeah. That might be some of it. It's like that. I can do this. I can walk into this room and give this speech. I do have the education to teach these kids. I am qualified. I have been given, and like that we talk, and when we prepare our brains and our minds, then our body reacts. And
it's two different forms of preparation though, right? I mean, I think there's practice, which also is part of that, right? Discipline. And is a form of preparation, like doing the movement, the skill, the activity, whatever the thing is. And then, there's this other form of preparation, which kind of getting your mind right. I mean, you hear people say that, like, get your mind right or whatever. And I think that's a different thing, but it's a huge part of it. Yeah. And I love, the story about your mom, because it just shows the power that we have to speak into other people's lives. But I also think it's just as important the way we're talking to ourselves, because, I think the confidence on the outside is related to what's going on the inside.
We can kill that confidence. Yeah. So I do have, this has always been a point of struggle in my brain. Okay. When I think about wanting to build confidence in others, maybe you, maybe my kids, I do want to tell them nice things, and I do want to help build their confidence, but I also don't want to lie or to tell them. Yeah. So it's really hard because I think there's way too many sorry. There's way too many confidence givers like that are fake confidence givers. So they were like I want to be nice to you, just, or I'll build you up. And I mean, it's great. I would rather them build you up than build you down. Like you can do this, whatnot. But I also like want to be real and want to like push my kids in the right confidence. Like I don't want to tell my kid, oh, you're an amazing basketball player. You go for it. You're the best one out. Like that's not helpful.
Right.
And that so that's a balance for me, because I don't want people to think or to go to their kids and say, oh, if I tell them they're good enough, they'll be good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, this makes me think of like how when all of the growth mindset, thing was really popular, Carol Dweck stuff, thinking about how we provide feedback or what we compliment in our kids. So I think that especially if it's something that's talent-based for your child, like you could say, you're really good at basketball, you're doing great. But I think it's more important that we praise the things that we're talking about, the discipline, the effort. Like, I'm really proud of how hard you're working, right? Mm-hmm. I don't care if you scored 5 points or 57 points tonight, right?
It's so freaking hard for me, Stacy.
I know it's hard for you. You're very outcome driven, though.
Yes. And so, like,
and this is what this is not about.
And
This is okay. I'm getting fired up here for a second. This is exactly the point, okay? Because this is what I'm thinking about, like with goals and stuff and with discipline. Like it doesn't matter. This is why a goal and failing is not going to matter as much if it's discipline based. Because like I could say, oh, I want to lift this certain weight or be able to squat this much or whatever it may be, right? Mm-hmm. And that feels great when you meet that goal. But the point is not that I can lift that weight. The point is that I know I can be disciplined enough to just show up every day and get a little better every day. Or maybe I have a day that's a little worse, but I was still there. You know what I mean? And it's not about the outcome. It's not about the number. Yeah. It's just about you did something hard.
I think for some people, that is just a thing that they have to daily remind themselves of. Yes. And other people, it's a little bit easier. Yes. And I'm talking to a subset of people out there. Sure. Like, I really, truly believe that it doesn't feel like a win unless it's, we've had plenty of conversations about this. Like not feeling successful, I'm like, unless this, and this happens, this is not successful. Even though I did do, 75 days of something amazing, or I did do, but I didn't get the outcomes that I wanted. So it is very hard, but it's purpose. We have to talk to ourselves and know that that's not true confidence. Mm-hmm. In Forbes, there was a quote, the author, when they were talking about confidence, I did like this: with consistent effort, with the courage to take the risk, we can expand our confidence. And I think that's what you're saying. The confidence that we can keep getting better. Yeah. That we're not at the end. And in whatever discipline that you want. But I do think it's important. We need this. Our kids need this. Yeah. You need to know that you can get better. You can be better. But it does take work. It takes hard work most of the time. And, for some people it comes a little bit easier. Yeah. Like Blakely with her spelling words, we talked about that. It was a little bit harder for her, but then she made her first 100, and Stacy Lynn, she has made 100 since that time. So, sometimes it just takes one win, one outcome.
Yes.
To let you know, this can be done.
Yeah. And I'm not saying outcomes don't matter at all. I mean, I think, of course, you want to see results, and it's going to be easier to stay disciplined if you're seeing positive outcomes, right? If you're seeing the wins, if you're seeing whatever it is that you want to do. But certainly
that cannot be
that's not
the barometer.
Story. Yeah, that's right. But I do think it's a positive feedback loop. Like, you get a win, it's it's going to make you realize, oh, that paid off, right? And it's going to be easier to be disciplined, which is going to lead to bigger outcomes and more success. And it's just going to kind of keep feeding the cycle. But the problem is, if you don't get the outcome, then you have to have a plan in place to keep, to stay disciplined. You have to use that failure as like motivation to work even harder, rather than just to say, I've hit my limit, it can make or break you, right?
Yeah. And I think what it was the 75 days that really taught us that. It was the longevity of this.
Yeah.
Because how many times do we do stuff for 75 days?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
often, for sure.
so I hope the people who did this, or if you haven't, be consistent in a discipline, something, like just even 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, doing something to say, I'm going to get better at this.
Yeah. Every day for an extended period of time. It really makes a huge difference. And so even if you didn't do the Because We Love You version of the 75-day challenge, you can pick one up now. It's the new year. It's a good time to commit to consistency. And like we had talked about, last week, think about the kind of person that you want to be, like what, and what is that? And then just do a lot of that, right? Find other people who are doing it.
Create a culture of that. Yep. Create a culture of activity. Create a culture of healthy eating. Yep. Create a culture of reading and talking about your books. Create a culture of adventure. That's what I'm doing this year. Every year.
That's what you do every year. Yeah.
Every year. I was talking to a guy today at lunch that I didn't know. He was kind of like a drug rep for this new company. And I was telling him about some of my upcoming trips. Yeah. And I was like, but I always have to do one thing that there's at least a minimal risk of dying in order for it to be fun. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So like when we go to Colorado Springs, we want to do the Montego steps incline, the Montego incline, and it's like a lot of steps, and I mean there's some risk of falling and dying of dehydration and pulling a hamstring, rupturing an Achilles.
That sounds
and
great.
Greece is coming up, and you're gonna jump off a mountain with me.
I'm gonna do that. That's an area where I need to work on confidence.
No worries. Stacy Lynn. We're going to be working on confidence because we believe in it, and we know that's going to help us live our best life.
That's right. So commit to something for an extended period of time. Why, Jade?
Because we love you.